A big hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today, and it's a really momentous occasion as we pick up yet another season of A Class Apart, the Mrs. Ygp Memorial Quiz 2023. Started by the Padma Shadri Bal Bhavan group of institutions in the thick of the pandemic, it's a quiz which is a tribute and a celebration of Mrs. Ygp's life. A doyen in the field of education, someone who loved children and was very passionate about India. The quiz is a dedication to these youngsters and to tell them more and get them to learn about our country. Over the last couple of seasons, this quiz has grown not just in stature, but also in terms of the level of difficulty. They've all gone through multiple rounds to reach here into the semi-final stage that you are going to witness from here on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a little bit of trivia in this. Mrs. Ygp actually wrote her articles during her journalism days under the pen name Rashmi. Well, appropriately enough, our host, who's going to take you through the semi-finals, is Rashmi. Well, the Rashmi we are talking about is an alumnus of NITK Surathkal and IIM Calcutta, and she has of course been a prolific host over the last couple of years, be it co-hosting a Tata Crucible with me to her own quiz shows that she has built over the last couple of years. She's the only professional woman quiz host in Asia today and has been hosting the Mrs. Ygp quiz with me since its inception. Ladies and gentlemen, to take you through the semi-finals of this season of this quiz, it's my pleasure and privilege to welcome on stage your host, Miss Rashmi Furtado.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A Class Apart Mrs. Ygp Memorial Quiz 2023, an initiative by the PSBB group of institutions. This quiz was created to honor Mrs. Ygp, a great educator from our country, a great inspiration for all the girls and women of our country, inspiration for everybody, but specifically the girls because it does matter. So she's a wonderful person who did a lot in the field of education, and she gave her everything to education in our country. She had a specific affection towards the children of middle school, and that is why this entire quiz is for the children of classes 5, 6 and 7, that is the middle school. So all of these students that you see here with me today have gone through multiple rounds with prelims and quarterfinals to reach the semi-final here today. And now, from among the four of them, only the winner will qualify to that national finale of A Class Apart Mrs. Ygp Memorial Quiz. This is the second semi-final of this quiz, which means you have already identified one who has qualified. That's Sanvi from Chennai, who has qualified into that national final. Now it's time for us to identify the next winner who will join her into that national final. But before we get there, let me quickly introduce our semi-finalists to you and then get cracking with this quiz. Our first contestant joining us from the Presidency School, Archie Nagar, is Jyotsna. Joining us from Mumbai, the Thakur Public School, is Anu Megha. This school has been doing very well in quizzing in the past few years. That is Teja Vidyalaya, and representing them is Sunandu. And completing the lineup for us here today, representing PSBB, is Ramesh. So we have schools from the south and the west in this particular semi-final. It's a random order, really. We don't really go ahead and check the locations of the school when we decide on the semi-final. It's a random order that is taken into account. So all of these contestants will now battle it out to ensure that they get their slot in that national final. The entire context of this quiz is India. We have 4 rounds here today, and for the first 3 rounds, they will have questions appearing on their screen. 20 questions in all. So what the contestants need to remember is while they're thinking about the answer, they should not lose the sight of the context, that is India. So let's get started with the first round of our quiz. She is historic. Here we go. Five questions in this round, images coming up on your screen, and along with that, corresponding questions from me. The moment you press your buzzer, you're letting me know that you already know the answer, so I will stop reading the question. You cannot ask me to complete the question after you have pressed that buzzer. Please keep that in mind. Also, be very careful with the buzzers. They're very sensitive. If you press the buzzer, you have to give me an answer. There will be a consequence, either a positive or a negative. Keep that in mind. In case your buzzer gets disconnected, please raise your hand and then stop me and get reconnected. Do not keep on tapping on your buzzer phone. All right. Good luck to all of you. The buzzers are open. Be very careful with them. All right, so let's get started with the first question of the semi-final, ladies and gentlemen, coming up on your screen now. They are the only 2 Indian Army officers. Sunandu on the buzzer. Go ahead.
Ma'am, these are the only 2 field marshals of India. First one is Sam Mansha and second one is KM Karyappa.
All right. He did not allow me to complete the question. This is the first question of this quiz. Let me complete the question in any case. They are the only 2 Indian Army officers to hold which rank in Indian Army? Field Marshal alone would have given him the points, but he went ahead and gave us the name Sam Manekshaw and KM Karyappa. Plus 50 to Sunandu. He's absolutely right. A great start. 50 points to Sunandu on that. Let's move on. Question number 2 coming up on your screen now. Identify the city in Madhya Pradesh. Anumegha, go ahead.
And this is the Brihadishwara temple.
Minus 50. I just said identify the city in Madhya Pradesh. That itself should have been a huge clue for you. Let me complete the question. Identify the city in Madhya Pradesh where the Mahakaleshwar Jyotirlinga temple is located. Anumegha is a good quiz. I've quizzed with her many times before this. She would have certainly known the answer. She was a little too quick in pressing the buzzer and did not hear me clearly. The answer I was looking for is Ujjain. Ujjain would have given her plus 50, but Brihadishwara giving her the minus 50. It's too early in the quiz. She can very easily move into the positive. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 3 coming up on your screen now. Which state in India was historically known as Kangleipak? Kangleipak. It is bounded by Nagaland to the north, Mizoram to the south, and Assam to the west. The old flag, Jyotsna, go ahead.
Manipur.
Plus 50 on that, Jyotsna getting 50 points. Manipur is the exact answer that I was looking for. I think the mention of the other states really helped her and gave her that clue. Manipur is a good answer. Let's move on. Question number 4 coming up on your screen now. He is the twin brother of Draupadi in the Mahabharata and is born from a yajna organized by Drupada. Go ahead, Anumegha.
Drishtam.
You have to give me a better answer. That's not the exact name.
Rishtampura.
Minus 50. I cannot give you on that. You cannot change the names like that. I understand if it were a full form and a part of the full form is what you're getting wrong. But the changing of the names basically means the entire answer is changed. The answer I was looking for is Drishtyadumna. Drishtyadumna is his name. He is the twin brother of Draupadi. And if I'm not wrong, he's the one who kills Drona in the entire Mahabharata. That is, they say that is the reason he was born into the earth. All right, Anumega getting another minus 50 on that. Let's move on. The final question of this round coming up on your screen now. Which article of the Indian Constitution says the state shall endeavor to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India? It's basically an article number that you have to give me. Okay? You do understand that? Go ahead, Jyotsna.
Ma'am, is the answer Article 44?
Article 44 is absolutely right. A great answer by Jyotsna again. Article 44, ladies and gentlemen, is the right answer. All right, let's move on. We have come to the end of the first round, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to the second round of this quiz. She is beautiful. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the first question of this round. The question coming up on your screen now. This building has 3 entrances. Go ahead, Jyotsna.
Ma'am, this is the recently constructed new Parliament building.
Absolutely right. Getting plus 50 on that again is Jyotsna. The entire description, lengthy description that you see on your screen is nothing but the new Parliament building of our country in New Delhi, giving Jyotsna those 50 points. All right, let's move on to the next one. Question number 2 coming up on your screen now. Where would you find this sculpture of Mother India in the form of a figure of a lady sheltering the young Republic of India, represented by the symbol of a child? Sunandu, go ahead.
Ma'am, is it Supreme Court?
Supreme Court of India is absolutely right. Sunandu getting another plus 50. A high quality answer by him there. This is right in front of Supreme Court of our country. That was question number 2. Let's move on to the next one. I expect a quick buzz on this one. Question number 3 coming up. Here we go. The Pamban Bridge is a railway bridge that connects the town of Mandapam. Go ahead, Ramesh.
Ma'am, actually the Rameshwar, I mean this bridge connects the town of Pamban along with the mainland of India.
Okay, what is your final answer? You gave me like 3 different answers. You said Pamban, you said mainland of India, and you said Rameshwar. Which one is the final answer?
The Pamban.
Could you repeat your answer, please?
Pamban.
All right, I cannot give you 50 points on that, Ramesh. When I started the question, I said the Pamban Bridge is a railway bridge. I already said that it was a Pamban Bridge. Why would I need that as an answer? My entire question, ladies and gentlemen, the Pamban Bridge is a railway bridge that connects the town of Mandapam in mainland India with which famous town on the Pamban Island? All I needed from you was Rameshwaram. You even gave me that answer, but gave me too many other answers along with that. I needed one final answer. Unfortunately, Pamban alone cannot give you those 50 points. I will have to give you a minus 50 on that. Listen to my questions carefully, kids, because you're not listening to the clues that I'm giving you in the question and then repeating the same thing as an answer. You will, while you know the answer, you'll end up taking an unnecessary negative. Don't do that to yourself. Just be a little careful when you listen to me. Let's move on. Question number 4 of this round coming up on your screen now. Identify the mosque from Purulia in West Bengal that is in the list of geographical indications in India. you know the GI tags in India, right? That's geographical indication. The Kolhapuri chappal has a GI tag, so this mask also has a GI tag. Anumegha, go ahead.
The Chow mask.
Chow mask is absolutely right. Anumegha getting plus 50 on that. Anumegha may be on the route to recovery from the negatives that she took early on, which is a very good sign. So let's move on. The final question of this round coming up on your screen now. Identify the tallest of the flying birds found in parts of the Indian subcontinent. Tallest of the flying birds and found in Indian go ahead, Jyotsna.
Ma'am, the Saurus crane.
The Saurus crane is absolutely right. Getting a plus 50 on that is Jyotsna again. Ladies and gentlemen, we've completed 2 rounds in this quiz. Let's move on to the 3rd round. Coming up is She is Inspiring. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching a class apart Mrs. Ygp Memorial Quiz 2023. This is the 2nd semi-final of this quiz, a beautiful initiative by the PSBB group of institutions created in the honor and memory of Mrs. Ygp. Like I said, we are halfway through into this quiz, so let's take a quick look at the score. All right, score coming up. Leading this quiz right now with 200 points is Jyotsna, and close behind her with 100 points is Sunandu. We have Anumegha and Ramesh both on minus 50 each. They have to work a little harder. But ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 more rounds to go. It's still imminently possible for any one of them to win this quiz. So Jyotsna is not really out of the woods at all. 5 questions on this in this round. Coming up on your screen are visuals, and along with them corresponding questions from me. All right, the first question coming up, here we go. If Sukumar Sen was the first after independence to hold this constitutional post, go ahead, Anumegha.
Election Commissioner Rama Devi.
Plus 50 to you. Good answer by Anumegha there. She is V.S. Rama Devi, the first woman to hold the position of the Chief Election Commissioner of our country. And with that, Anumegha is back to nil, which means now she has a very good chance to come back and move into the positives. Ramesh still has to work a little harder and negate that minus 50 that he has on his score. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 2 coming up on your screen. Here we go. Identify the Indian compound archer who won. Anumegha. Go ahead.
Jyoti Surekha.
Jyoti Surekha Venom. This is from the very recent Asian Games that were conducted. Our team made us proud in the Asian Games, and giving Anumegha the plus 50 is Jyoti Surekha. Absolutely right. Let's move on to the next one. Question number 3 coming up on your screen now. His first novel, The Room on the Roof, was published in 1956. He was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award. Sunandu, go ahead.
Ma'am, Ruskin Bond.
Plus 50 on that. Very good answer. Sunandu doesn't seem to be pressing the buzzer every now and then, but when he answers, he gives me good quality answers. Plus 50 on Ruskin Bond to him. All right, last 2 questions of this round. Question number 4 coming up on your screen now. Identify the Padma Bhushan awardee who was honored. Anumegha, go ahead.
Veda Rahman.
Wahida Rahman, plus 50 to you. Absolutely right. She was also awarded the Dada Saheb Phalke Award. And if you watched any old movies from our country, old Bollywood movies, you would see her performance as an actor and as a very graceful dancer as well. Anumegha getting plus 50 on that. The final question of this round, ladies and gentlemen, coming up on your screen now. Identify the domestic sporting championship from its logo. Go ahead, Anumegha.
Ranji Trophy.
Plus 50. Very good answer. Looks like Sunandu wanted to press that buzzer, but he was a little too slow. Anumegha beat him to it and gets a plus 50 on that. Ladies and gentlemen, one more round to go. I understand that you want to take a look at the scores. I do too. So let's take a quick look at the score before we move on to the next round. All right. Jyotsna is still leading with 200 points, but the lead is actually getting smaller and smaller. Anumega now is on 150. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this was the girl who was on minus 100 and now she's moved back into 150. A very good comeback from her. Sunandu is also on 150. Good quality answers by Sunandu here today. Ramesh has to work a little harder. He's on minus 50. But with the last round, it is still possible for Ramesh to win this quiz. Let's see what happens. Let's move into the last round of this quiz. She is a class apart. Here we go. All right, there is a slight change in the format of this round. Nothing appearing on your screen, and you will have to listen to what I have to say very carefully. Rest of the rules remain absolutely the same. Plus 50 and minus 50. Remember, only the winner will qualify for the national finale of a class apart Mrs. Ygp Memorial Quiz. Good luck to all of you. The first question of this round, here we go. Which Nobel laureate was the first Indian director of the Indian Institute of Science? Go ahead, Sunandu.
C.V. Raman.
Sir C.V. Raman, giving him 50 points. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Sunandu is also on 200 points now. Sunandu, I think, he's a typical example of slow and steady wins the race. But let's see if he actually wins this race. Let's move on to the next question coming up. Which union territory is served by an airport on the Agatti Island or the Agatti Island? Go ahead, Anumegha.
Lakshadweep.
Plus 50. Absolutely right. Plus 50 on that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, last three questions to go. Jyotsna on 200, Anumegha on 200, Sunandu on 200. This almost feels like a national finale to me with the kind of excitement that's going on here today. But it is still a semi-final and only one of them can move forward. Question number 3 of this round. Here we go. Which Indian freedom fighter's birthday is on 11th November and is celebrated as National Education Day? Anumegha, go ahead.
Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad.
Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, giving Anumegha plus 50. Good answer by her again. All right. The penultimate question of the semi-final, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Which train that runs from Dibrugarh to Kanyakumari is the longest running train in India? Ramesh, go ahead.
Vivek Express.
Vivek Express is absolutely right. Ramesh getting plus 50 on that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it boils down to the last question of this semi-final. If Sunandu or Jyotsna do not press the buzzer, then Anumegha automatically wins this quiz. Else, maybe if Anumegha volunteers a minus 50. She's a seasoned quizzer. She won't take any such rash steps unless she knows the answer for sure. So let's see what happens. The final question of this semi-final, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. With which sport are Saurav Ghoshal and Deepika Palikal? Go ahead, Anumegha.
Squash.
Squash is what she says, and she seems extremely confident. Sunandu is smiling there. Plus 50. And with that final plus 50, ladies and gentlemen, Anumegha wins this quiz with 300 points. Let's take a look at the final tally there. All right, good scores by everyone here today. Ramesh certainly undid that negative that he had earlier, which is very important if you ask me. Sunandu from Teja Vidyalaya on 200 points. Jyotsna from Presidency School, RT Nagar on 200 points. And Anumegha Datta from Thakur Public School, Mumbai on 300 points. Ladies and gentlemen, I think all of them played very well here today. Like I mentioned earlier, it almost felt like a national finale itself when it came down to the last two questions of this semi-final. Anumika is a very good quizzer. So are the others. I've quizzed with all of them before this. But sometimes you have to take your risk and you have to press that buzzer and take that chance and hope that you get it right. I think that's what Anumika did here today. From minus 100, she moved on to win this quiz with 300 points. I think that's a great story to talk about. So Anumika Datta from Thakur Public School, Mumbai, moves on to the national final of a class apart Mrs. Ygp Memorial Quiz. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two more semi-finals to go. So you don't go anywhere. Coming up would be the third semi-final of a class apart Mrs. Ygp Memorial Quiz. We have two more finalists to identify, and after that, we move into the national finale. You take care, and I hope to see you in the third semi-final.